We'd like to welcome everybody to the People's Inquiry into Undercover Policing. I'm going to chair. What the missing inquiry should be is an inquiry that's really trying to get to the truth, uncover every stone. This People's Inquiry is a little taste of what we think the inquiry really should be like. So we're going to elect a panel which will have the sort of experience on it that we need to have a really representative public inquiry. We've got our police representative here on my right. So I call the first witness, which is Dave Nellist, who was an MP and is going to give evidence to this People's Inquiry.
In November 2002, there was a series of 3 programmes on the BBC called True Spies, and one of those held interviews with West Midlands Special Branch officers who revealed that during the 1980s, at the behest of MI5, Special Branch sent in operatives to Coventry Labour Party in order to get close to me and the office that I ran, and kept files and spied on our activity for quite a length of time.
The police did acknowledge that human rights of the women had been violated seriously. Meanwhile, the inquiry had been started up, and what the women went through in the inquiry was more of the same. More delays, more lies, more utter attempts to keep everything secret.
What recommendations would you make, Ms. Lovers?
Who had the authority over this, and how far up? Did the head of Special Branch know? Did the Commissioner know? Did the Home Affairs know about this? We want recognition of the systematic failure, and we want our files to be open. We want to see what is in there.
Wouldn't the state be justified in having an interest in what goes on without unions that are organising in the British civil service?
The answer to that is that it's a question of democracy. Civil servants have the right to political activity.
A black police officer in plain clothes approached me in a supermarket and said, "You're Mark Wadsworth, aren't you? You lead the Anti-Racist Alliance. I would be very careful if I was you, because the Special Branch are running an operation out of Brixton Police Station and watching him 24/7.
We need to know who was spied on, by whom, authorised by whom, in terms of the senior police involved."
And there should be an advisory panel made up of women, black people, trade unionists and activists who know exactly what it was like to be involved in these campaigns.
I was on one of 3 buses that were heading to the Fairford RAF airbase as the invasion of Iraq was beginning. Our 3 buses were not permitted to lawfully protest at the airbase. We were kidnapped by the police. They closed the M4, they closed every exit, they threatened our drivers with arrest. We had helicopters buzzing us the whole way back to London. They knew perfectly well who we were and what we were doing, because not only was an undercover policeman on one of the buses, but another undercover policeman was in the organising committee who arranged these buses.
Would you not agree that undercover policing does play a role in safeguarding our society?
So there were a large number of police in Scotland, undercover, with the likes of us with our cardboard cannons. While we were all in Scotland, 7/7 happened in London. We got the news while we were in Stirling that there had been explosions right across my home city. If the police wanted to go undercover to prevent violence and harm to our people, perhaps they should be doing it to actual terrorists rather than to a bunch of clowns, peace protesters, environmentalists, etc.
Mark Kennedy drove me around various countries. He drove me across the border into Northern Ireland. We were in Scotland together, Germany, the Republic of Ireland. But as it sits now, I'm not able to talk about any of those things at all. One thing that for me is absolutely important and vital is what happened to me in Scotland. After Mark Kennedy came to visit me, my emails didn't really work very well anymore. I want to know if the police had something to do with interfering with that press work, which should be legally protected.